Okay. So in last lecture we studied about what is education and what is extension education. What is the difference between the two terms? What is the scopes of the extension and how that is implemented to the BSc agriculture students. Now the third topic that we are going to study today is about the objective and principle of extension education. So how this education extension education started, actually before anything it was a service. And Harton in 1952 he said, like, when we provide extension services we have to keep some four great principle things in our mind. The first one is we have to think that individual is the supreme in democracy. The home is a fundamental unit in a civilization. So here we have to think like, yeah, every person, every individual is a prime target of a extension service, and home is the place where this people are trying to come together, and the extension people can interact with them. Then the third one is about the family, because family is the first group that resides in the society. And then the fundamentals of any permanent civilization must rest on the partnership of land, man, and the land. So here is what is does the partnership means is about the man and the land is whatever we does in the area wherever we are living is directly proportional or directly involving men in that. And land, without land men cannot make their houses and all. And they don't understand the felt need of that particular area, the piece of land. So we can say this scientist was having this both the things in mind, that men is associated with land and land is also associated with men. So as they were working upon, and then they went for further, uh, in the coming years, they come up with the objective of extension work. First of all, the things was about the services. The services are the things that some uh, things that we provide to the people, some uh, activity or some facility that we provide to the people. But when we talk about the work here is signifying everything in the sense, like all the people are coming together and helping the other people. So, what were the objective of the extension work? To help people reach higher level of living physically, mentally, and spiritually. So, here is higher level. What does the meaning of higher level here is? This uh, higher level means whatever environment they are living in, they have to be in a particular way, in a particular standard, in a particular health and status of mind. So here is physically means we work in the field with the people. That is the physically. Mentally is about the changing the connotation that they have built since their birth or since they were living in that particular place. Spiritually, we encounter here is we don't have to demolish their whatever um, the spiritualities they are having. We have to enhance that spirituality in such a way that it is the services that we are providing to them. Then second point is to reach these higher level of living, people must be educated and trained to meet their responsibility in relation to God, to their neighbors, and to themselves. So people must be educated is like services told that individual is important, then they told like home is important, then they told family is important, and then they came up with the partnership of the male and man and land is important. Okay, so when we talk about men and land, so men always live in the land, and land doesn't consist of only one individual or one home or one family. It consists of many families that are grouped together. They build up a society. So when the society is built up, we have some responsibility towards them also. So the first one is like understanding what type of your neighbor is and what are their needs. Are the needs similar to yourself or are they different? Then towards a god, relation towards a god means here is the responsibility that they are having must have relation with God, means like their spirituality shouldn't be hampered, or they should attach with each other with some godly rituals and all, and they help each others. Okay, so third point is they must also know how to meet the responsibility imposed by their environment. So, like wherever we live, we have to keep the area in such a condition that we are able to reside in them. So, like we have some Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Why it is so? To help the community to be healthy, be and know about the environment, prevent the environment, be in the way like they uh, give and take from the environment, and that will in whole will help the man to be healthy forever. So like uh, environment consists of plants and animals, so both of them have a direct impact on man's life. So like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is one of the responsibility that is imposed. Okay, and as an individual we should also keep the environment clean so that we can be also healthy. The fourth, these were the extension work objectives. Now we move on to what is the overall objective of extension. So objectives are expressed of the end towards which our effort are directed. So objectives doesn't mean just a person is very normal or anything that we impose, and it shouldn't be it should be misused or something like that. No, actually the objective is the thing that is expressed, whatever we think that this is important for their family, understanding the felt need of that particular area is what we call as objective, and we will come up with some solution and we will impose on them, and that will benefit to them. Then fundamental objectives, the fundamental objective or extension is to develop the people or the person to whom we are targeting and we are making the things. The development is for the rural people economically, means like something that are benefit for them so that they can economically develop themselves. Socially, like they can have an interaction with each other, and then culturally is the main important because part every village in India is having their own culture, so we have to respect that. But we have to involve the education in that so that they can be educated as well as keep their traditional ways. Okay, then working objects. Now these were the basics. Now we come to the working object. Why extension education is so much important? So we have to focus, we have seen the felt need of the people. Now we are going to make an objective that will be uh, confined to one particular geographical area, and that will increase the productivity of that area, and also the cultural importance of that area. The main objective of extension may be categorized as follows, like it consists of material, increasing production and economy. Then second one is educational, changing the outlook of the people or develop the individual, social and cultural development of the community. So material here is, if we will educate the people, being an agriculture extension worker, if we educate the people how to increase the productivity with the um, uh, seeds, or with the practices they are having, and how they will increase that thing, will is going to help them to come up with some practices which will increase their yield, and that will indirectly affect the income of the family. Then educational, changing the outlook of the people or developing the individual. That is means by demonstrating how to handle irrigation things, drip irrigation and sprinkler irrigation, how to use the machineries for the harvesting and threshing. This will increase, giving the knowledge and demonstrating that particular thing to the people will increase the individual knowledge, and that will increase the community knowledge. Then social and cultural means, if through this all things economically development is there, then automatically the society, each and every family of the society will increase and their culture will be enhanced. Now we have the principles underlying the disease philosophy of extension. The first one is, we have everything has to go hand in hand with the planning. So when first of the thing is, without planning, nothing can happen. Then execution is there, means implementation of that particular plan is there, and then evaluation of that thing is done through people. Like, we are working for the people, so we need to have some outcome from the people. Extension is an organization set up to teach the people and motivate them. It's not about only whatever we are thinking and we implement there. It's our duty. We have finished. Okay, we were assigned with a particular program and we went to the village. We did it and we came out. Whether the people are motivated or not, whether they are following this procedure for the further activities of farming or any other purpose, we are not taking. So it is not done like that. So the second fundamental the second principle is about motivating them. Then the third one is, we are helping them to help themselves. Okay, so in the last lecture I told you how do people help themselves. um, and then the fourth one is, should be based on felt need, enlightened desire of the people, like whatever they felt need. If there is a problem of irrigation, if there is a problem for fisheries, fish production, if there is a problem with them rice production, if there is a problem with wheat production, how we need to improve that thing so that the people can have that uh, thing in that area. They can grow that particular crop or that particular business in that area, and then they can have a economical benefit out of that. Then extension should reach the people where they are. So it's not like we have a proper institution, formal institution, and people are coming and getting information about that. No, extension always work with the people where they are. Like if it is in the village, we have to work with the people in the village. We don't have to call them in our offices and ask them to go about the thing. Then the sixth one is, aim and objective should not be rigid. Oh, so this is the very great thing that we are studying here is, it shouldn't be rigid. Why? What does the rigid means is, like it shouldn't be like, if I have told, it won't be changed for any time. It's not like that. We have to see that on ground what is the situation, and we have to manipulate little bit of our objective in a such a way that the people are people can easily adopt that particular thing. Then people uh, change the people and not the subject. So it's not like we went into the village, we found that domestic violence is the biggest issue, and our main objective was to tell the people how to uh, adopt the irrigation new technologies, like drip irrigation and sprinkler irrigation, or uh, there are different types of irrigation. We went for this purpose. Then suddenly we came up that most of the people are having alcohol, and domestic violence is the major cause for not the good production of the family or the crops. So we can't just leave the irrigation part away and then we focus on the domestic violence issue. So it's we have to do something with that, but we have to make the people understand, like irrigation, how we will improve the irrigation that will increase your crop production. That will be our major thing. But like to find the biggest happiness or biggest success, we have to climb a ladder, no? So same thing happens here. Okay, then we never do one thing is we never try to underestimate their culture, because maybe their culture is will teach us something new. So we have to follow whatever the culture they have, and in that only we have to educate them with our objectives. Then must be adopted in the formulation and execution of the program. So it shouldn't be like individual idea, it should be a group idea. Okay, like one person, if I'm teaching a thresher how to operate a thresher machine, I need to have a group of people who are knowledgeable about who get knowledge and they teach more people. Okay, then should give greater benefit to the greater number of people. It's not like if I went, I the whole it is a village of 300 people. I have a very good terms with one person. I came up, I gave all the information to that person. I taught him for 3 to 4 months. I have well trained him how to handle all the equipments, how to do all the process, and then I come back. It's never like that. We have to see, like out of 300, at least 290 people are getting benefit out of the program that is going through the extension. So principle is about always giving greater benefit to the greater number of the people of the society. Then there are some functions that we have to follow before going to the actual field. First one is to assist people to discover and analyze their problems. So many of the sometimes what happens, like people don't understand, like this is the biggest problem and that is the minor problem. They make the minor problem as the biggest problem and they ignore the major problem. So we have to give them training in such a way that they understand, like this is also a problem, and first if we take away that problem, then only we will go on to the minor problem. Okay, then develop leadership among them. That is the biggest thing. If like we are not that much knowledgeable of every uh, language, every culture that is followed in India, so we have to be very um like a good relation with one of the person in the village, so that they can help us to disseminate our information to them. The second one is dissemination of the information, that is whatever the research we did in the formal education format, we have to put that thing on a practical basis. So we will we in that we have to accept the pros and cons also, what are the going on uh, actually on the field, whether the research we did was correct or not, or whether the people are able to accept or not. Okay, then fourth one is informed of the people's problem from time to time. So it's not like once we went and we forget everything. We have to work for every year. At the same time, we take a report how much the rural development has been there, how much the community development is there, how much the societal development is there. So we have to track a record of everything. Then mobilizing and utilizing the resources. So it's not like whatever is grown in the village is sold in the village. We have to give a platform to them so that they can increase the production and then increase and sell that in the market. So mobilizing and utilizing the resources is like we have to mobilize people to understand like this much is enough for my family. Now I can sell this much of to the outside of the village so that I can earn good living out of it. So now we move on to some concepts that are there in the extension education process. The first one is teaching plan of work, then we have evaluation, then reconsideration, situations and problem, objectives and solutions. Okay, the first step is about this thing. So consists of collection of data, analyzing of the facts. So in here in this step, we are trying to acknowledge people about the fact that before going into the field, we have to understand that what is the actual problem of the village, what is the biggest picture, and then we will move on to the small component of that picture. Okay, so the second point is facts about the people and their enterprises, the economic, social, cultural, physical, and technological environment in which they live and work. So we have to understand all of that fact. It's not like just I'm sitting in the AC and I'm doing video calling and all. I'm technology and I have a technology environment. I have electricities. I have net facilities. But what about the people in the village? Are they are having the same thing? Like one of the factors, digital India was implemented, but how much it is implemented, nobody understands that thing. So we have to think through the people's felt need, and then first we have to collect data. What is the basic thing for encouraging digital India is we should provide electricity to the people so that they can buy a phone and they can get charged and they can utilize it. The second point is good internet facility should be given, but people, the government has only implemented the things but never went back to see what is the actual problem they are still facing. So many remote areas today also are facing network issues, and because of that they are lacking behind as compared to the other districts where there was already electricity provided and people are aware of the facts that how much importance of digital India is. Okay, then they may be obtained by appropriate survey and establishing a rapport with the people. So like for example, like if there is a there is a Kurkure company and there one more company comes. Like we have already common ways we have understood about the Teddy Made company, the for snacks company. Okay, the flavor, the taste is same. Maybe there will be some issue like for like 50 gram of Kurkure you are paying 10 rupees, but for 10 gram, for 100 gram of Kurkure to Tede Mede you are paying 5 rupees. So now the second point is what is the taste, what is the thing. So the we have to understand the society and understand the factors that are happening, and then if Tede Mede is making a reputation in that among the people, that will be a beneficial for us. Okay, so same thing applies to the whatever planning we does. Okay, so the responses obtained are to be analyzed. So whatever we are going to the village, we are getting support from the people. We understand, we take survey like which one is the better one, and they will give this one is better and why, because this things are more important. then price is the most important, the flavor is most important, it is very hygienic or it is packed with this thing and that, the packet is very colorful and attractive. So that is our all the response that we do in the survey, and we see the problem to increase the distribution of the particular product. Okay, then this is the first part of what we does in the concept of extension program planning. Same thing, if we take an example of any of the program related to agriculture, whether it is high variety seeds that we do give to the people, hybrid seeds we give to the people, how much the productivity was before and how much after the introduction of hybrid seeds. So we have to track all the functions, and then we have to see the second part of that. Then second step is evaluation. That is, evaluation in a general terms is how much uh, actually it is affecting the people in the society. Okay, then it must a limited number of objectives should be selected by involving the local people. So it's not like I went to the field, I saw this thing was much better and this thing was not better. So it is doesn't mean like I will make all the objective on the better part of the thing. I have to see both the part, and we have to accomplish like both of the things together so that we can bring a desirable behavior change in the people so that they can um, take a step to develop themselves economically and socially. Okay, and then um, if there is anything which is very low and something very harming to them, then we have to tell them like how to increase that thing. If it is low also, how much benefit you can earn with the introduction of this particular thing. Like if there is a pest attack with the field, how you are going to implement some of the chemicals that are very much given to them so that the field is more is free from pesticides, and then they can get a good yield of the field of the crops, and they can sell in the market. And then reconsideration after the after we have collected the data, we have revised that data, we have little bit implemented that data, and then also saw some of the lags behind in that. So we will reconsider, we will again go for collection of the facts, then evaluate it, and then we will implement again. Like I have already told about the high variety seeds, which is and the fertilizer application and other basic technologies that are used in the rural environment. Then fourth one is situations and problem. So we have to see that objective should reach to the farmers, but at at which situation, to which problem. Like if there are thousands of problem, how many problem can be accomplished through the objective that we are setting? Okay, and how many people can are able to change their uh, behavior according to that particular thing. So we have to see all these things, and then we have to move on. The fifth step is about objective and solutions. So after the reconsideration, the entire extension education program on the light of the result of the evaluation. So whatever we have, we will again modify after analyzing the situation, the problem, the evaluation, reconsideration, and collection of facts. So to see all the factor and then come up with another set of objectives and solution that will work for the furthest, or how to modify the existing thing. Okay, so this is the MCQ. The first question is about in which year the how many in which these are the MCQs that are given on the basis of this presentation. So now we will move on to the next topic, that is about uh, the basic principle and how much why it is very important and how much it is implemented. There are 11 principles that we follows, and these were the principle which we discussed now was the basic one. So how this basic one is going to help the society or help the rural life to enhance themselves. So next lecture will be about all these things, and that will be much important because all the extension work which is going on now also in India, or it was going before, was carried out before, all are involved in this particular thing. So we have to understand the principles very basic, very nicely, so that then only we are able to go for the extension program for further things. Thank you. Regionalism. Regionalism is connected with the diverse culture, language, reasons, caste, tribe present in our country. Language helped in strengthening of Indian unity. After independence, we decided to follow the same pattern of the British leading presidencies. Bombay, Madras, and Kolkata, princely states. People in Madras spoke Malayalam, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada. The country was divided on the basis of language under Nehru because of Vallabhbhai Patel. Language is a binding force, would bring about effect, efficient communication, unity, state borders could spread love for language. When the Madras state was formed, Telugu people were unhappy as the millions were given more important posts and were dominant. Thus, they rebelled for separate state. Poti Sirimallu under, wanted a separate state, went on hunger strike for Telugu speaking people. After his death, protests continued and the government gave them Andhra Pradesh in 1956. The Telugu people had an opinion option whether to stay in Madras state or shift to Andhra Pradesh. Issues: majority and minority. Majority and minority is sociology is in sociology is connected with religion. Minority in any religion are those who are numerically weaker as compared to majority. In, in India, Hindus are majority class, almost 81% of the total population. Inclusive nationalism. When all religion work together for one cause benefit of the country to create unity in diversity, that is called nationalism. It recognizes diversity, but in spite of this, we come together. Like every state has their own culture, every state has their own language, every state has their own dresses. Still, we are called as Indian. We try to do a, away with discrimination and created a domestic setup democratic setup. So here is what we say. We have known that in India discrimination happens based on caste, creed, the way you speak, the religion you follow, the dresses you wear. Discrimination happens because of that. But if you talk about inclusive nationalism, in that case, we see that we all have come into one flag that is Indian. So that makes a democratic setup for all of us to be called as Indian, in spite of any religion, any language, any color, any dress culture, any borders. The second one is inclusive nationalism. When each religion does is what in their point of view will benefit the country. The best way for the country to be progressive is by including inclusive reasoning in the constitution where all section of societies including minority are taken care of. The constituent assembly tries to include social, political and economic justice when the constitution was drafted. Features of minority. They are numerically weaker and their need are not taken care of. They do not have a say in many matters. Means their opinion or their point of view is not taken when there are decision for the major thing, like for um, putting the reservation quota. Why only 5% for ST? Why only 5% for SC? Why only 5% for Jats? Why not it's 15%, 20%, 30, and all. And if you talk about the minority or suppressed group also, they are not even talked about of anything. Even if you see the tribe people, they are not included even for in the minorities. They have low or less opportunity in comparison to the majority. So if they are numerically weaker in numbers, though the, it is clear that they are um, not going to be counted as the competitor for the majority. Minorities are often discriminated against. So discrimination against, as it has already said, like they are not allowed for say in many matters. So that is the first discrimination. Second, discrimination on the basis of the quota, discrimination on the basis of the opportunity, discrimination on the basis of the cultural reason. So there are so many benefits that government provide them, but because of this minority section that is created, they face discrimination. There is a fear of insecurity and they feel that they are at a disadvantage as they are a smaller group. So for sure, if you are in a less, means we say no, unity is strength. Okay, and when majority is there, then opinion is considered to be right when the majority people come together. The same thing happen here also. They are minority, means they are less in numbers, so they have many insecurity regarding many things, getting a job, getting education, getting place in the higher society, getting equal respect and all. So there are so many reasons for discrimination in minority, and there is due to which there is insecurity, like if I do this thing, maybe they will not, the other people, the majority people will discriminate us and we will be not able to fight for our rights and all. All minority has a sense of collective belonging, togetherness, and they are always together and protest their right. So when it's not like only um, okay, I must give an example for this line, that is the CAA and NCA was there no for nationality approval in 2019. In that case, it was set for all Muslims, all Christians, all the minority religion people that they should show whether they are the citizen of India or not. In that case, there was a huge rights in all over the country, and you can see in the newses of that time, you would have seen that mostly the Muslim people were targeted for this, and uh, they came together, they protested for their right to not to tell like that, and it happened, and that is now settled in some extent. They have a sense of loyalty towards their nation. Jain Parsi are the communities who are economically strong. Means these people are the businessmen people, but they are culturally and socially weak. Example, Boras and Voras. Hindus are given many holidays, but for the festival of Parsi and Jain, there are no holidays. So, this is what we call the minority suppression. Then come the minority and how what are the policies that are present in India to protect them. In election, it is very easy for the political party to convert the numerical majority into political power, for sure. So, if there is majority of the people are there, then obviously the power of ruling comes in their hand. Like majority wins, we say no. There is a caption, there is a proverb. So, same applies here when it comes for the political power. Minority are at a risk and are vulnerable, variable. So they are at risk means they are even not asked whether they should be included in that or not. And the variable here, consider them that they are the only factor for get giving votes, but they are not having power to um, talk about all these factors so that the people can have right to speak. Thus, a majority block takes place. So, minority block take place. So, it's clearly like if they are not able to make decision, then mostly if they speaks also they don't have any power. So, so they automatically the majority people, those who are in power, they don't listen to them. So automatically they are blocked. At times they have to give up their identity to save their position. Obviously, we have seen like there, if there are, we have seen that there are aligned group. If there are election held and there are aligned, if many of the parties are there, like 5 to 7 parties wins in different area, but the majority is of one singular party. If they get like 70 or 80% of the vote, then the other they either come up to support the second party, or they merge with the higher party. So that is what we have here. It is given like therefore they give their own identity, being a party of being a candidate of any other party, and then giving that particular how much vote they have won to the winner party. Then obviously they are um, hiding their identities to save their position by means like they will be in that area with the help of the majority.
All region has the freedom to practice, preach, and profess their religion. So here in Indian Constitution in Article 29 and 30 they have given like they are free to practice or preach or profess any religion. There is no foundation to follow one particular religion. So this is what the majority policies has given a space to them.